Here's the thing, man. These guys that are attacking the innocent brown people, they aren't distinguishing between natives and long-term residents and people that just immigrated, you know, immigrants. They aren't doing that. They're just finding, like, there are tons of white passing or white people in Ireland that are immigrants. And there are tons of brown people that were born in Ireland. But these people aren't asking the question, who is a foreigner and who's not. They're asking who is brown and who's not. That's what they're doing.
And the media and the police, especially in Europe, they scramble.
That's why it's a pogrom. Anyway, this video is by JimmyTalks, and it is about the Belfast pogroms. Or pogroms,
What's up,
my
guys?
bad.
Welcome back to JimmyTalks. So there's some riots happening in Ireland right now.
Yeah, so they're not riots. I mean, they are riots. But calling it a riot is reductive. Okay, because these aren't just normal riots. These are pogroms.
And the establishment media
That's what's
is
happening.
already working overtime to frame it as senseless violence carried out by thugs and hooligans.
It is.
But that is not true. It usually never is. Whenever the news says something, it's usually fake and gay. Let me tell you what it actually is.
No. No, this time the news is actually pretty accurate. And it's because there is no way to look at this situation as a normal person and it not be accurate. Right? You can't twist this into anything other than just what it is, which is, for those of you that don't know, here's what happened. Okay? I'm about to explain it all. Alright, a man was attacked by a brown person, and from what I know, right, and the details that have been released, this person did not deserve to be attacked at all, okay, let alone so violently, okay, because this person was attacked and he was cut up with a knife. A lot of people were saying that, like, the guy tried to behead him, which, if you look at the video, like, it's a horrifying video, but not really a beheading. Okay. The guy unfortunately lost his eye, right? Like I said, there's a video of it. He lost one of his eyes. He is currently in the hospital, and I believe he is set to recover. Obviously he can't grow his eye back. Okay, his eye is gone. And that's terrible. But anyway, the person that did it was immediately arrested and is currently in custody. But despite that, of course, a bunch of right-wing groups in Ireland have organized. And they are currently marching around, firebombing innocent people, their homes, firebombing their homes. They're, chanting, like, immigrants out and whatnot. And this is what is called a pogrom. Okay, now the word pogrom was used to describe, like, similar events to this, but it happened to Jewish people in Europe, in, like, Eastern Europe especially. Pogroms were pretty commonplace throughout history. But anyway, this time it is happening against Muslim people, okay? And well, not just Muslim people, I should say brown people, okay? Because, make no mistake, that's what's going on here. These guys are marching around looking for brown people to firebomb, okay? There's just no other way of putting it. Like, that's what they're doing. Okay, and it's disgusting. It's evil. It's a terrible thing. It needs to be stopped. Alright, these people need to be stopped.
African immigrant who arrived in the UK from Sudan in 2023.
I'm sure that is what is going to happen.
A native Irishman with a knife.
Surely the police are going to be like, time to arrest all of these violent fucking chuds that are firebombing innocent brown people. Surely that's what they'll do.
In the hospital, and he also doesn't have a left eye anymore. That is
The
what
police
sparked all
are
these
so
riots
useful.
And before someone starts with this tired, air quote, overreaction narrative, understand that this is not about one singular stabbing. It's not just this event. Think about it this way. It was never about
No, this isn't just an overreaction. This isn't just a riot. This is people doing senseless... Like, you know what would be an overreaction? If these guys were doing this because the perpetrator, the guy that did the stabbing, hadn't been arrested. Like if he had gotten away and he was hiding, right? And these guys started, like, going around looking for him, firebombing innocent people. That would be... They would still be evil. It would still be terrible. And that would be an overreaction. Alright? But at least it would be a reaction to something. You know, the guy didn't get caught. He's no justice. Okay, so they react to that. This isn't even a fucking reaction to anything. They're just killing and maiming and destroying the homes of innocent brown people for no reason. No reason at all, other than they're racist. And that's not a fucking reason. That's just that's a characteristic.
Think about a floor that is full of gasoline. A can of gas tipped over. The whole entire floor is soaking wet. Well, then somebody took a match, they struck it against the box, and then they dropped it right onto the floor full of gasoline. That is what this is. These constant attacks and violence and this hostile takeover by these foreigners, that has been the gasoline soaking in the floor of this room, and this stabbing was just kind of the match that lit all the gasoline.
Gasoline doesn't
Anyone who is
ignite
genuinely
like
surprised
that.
by what they are seeing
It's
in
not how
Ireland
that
with all the
works.
riots, they have not been paying attention, or they've simply just been lying to themselves. Because the truth is that this kind of violence has been steadily escalating across Ireland and really the entirety of Europe for well over a decade now, since all of this mass immigration started, because the pattern is always the same. A foreign national who just got here, I don't know, a year or two ago, not even from here, doesn't even like the native population. He's only here to take advantage of the free handouts, and that's what most of them really are there for. It's very rare that someone's actually escaping a war or something like that, which is what these immigration laws were created for. But anyways, they commit some sort of horrific violence against a native citizen, someone who's lived there their whole entire life. They have the culture that is their country.
Okay, here's the thing, man. These guys that are attacking the innocent brown people, they aren't distinguishing between natives and long-term residents and people that just immigrated, immigrants. They aren't doing that. They're just finding, like, there are tons of white passing or white people in Ireland that are immigrants. And there are tons of brown people that were born in Ireland. But these people aren't asking the question, who is a foreigner and who's not. They're asking who is brown and who's not. That's what they're doing.
And the media and the police, especially in Europe, they scramble.
That's why it's
to
a
immediately suppress all
pogrom.
the details, and the police arrest the people who speak out about it rather than the people who caused it. And then the establishment turns and they go with a straight face. They just say, "This outrage is just racism." Just racism. Not even like a week or two ago, something like that, maybe it was like 3, there was a young white guy who was murdered by a Sheik Indian. He was an Indian national who killed him because, and I want you to understand this very clearly, because the victim was staring at the knife that he was carrying around. That is the reason. That is the justification for an Indian stabbing someone. A young man is dead, and his killer was just walking around in England with a knife, which, by the way, the native citizens aren't allowed to have. They're very strict about that sort of stuff. And somehow the conversation turns to whether or not the people demanding justice are, air quote, far right. It is an inversion of morality that is so...
They're very strict about that stuff. I mean, I will say that my understanding is the punishment for, like, having illegal knives found on you, it can be pretty severe, right? But people still be having knives, though. Like, make no mistake. People be having knives in England.
People their lives. It would be darkly funny. And don't get me wrong, this is no laughing matter. It's just the complete inversion of morality, again, is so absolutely ridiculous. You have to understand that the collective rage you are seeing right now in Ireland is not the disease. That is not the problem. It is basically, when someone gets a disease, they get the immune response. You get cold, your body starts to react to it. This is what it is.
No, man, let me tell you what it is. You're stupid. You're so fucking stupid, right? The idea that hundreds, thousands of men in Ireland want to kill brown people because one white guy got stabbed, it's just not true, right? And libtards might try to paint that as the reality. Oh, look at all these racist chuds in Ireland. Like, you could even argue that I was doing that just a second ago. Okay, but it's not the reality, and that's not what I was trying to say. There are terror cells, okay, in Ireland that are going around right now, and under the cover of the mob are doing the firebombing and the maiming and in like general intimidation. Okay, that's what's happening. The larger mob is just there because they know about rumors about the case, right? This guy getting stabbed. They've heard the rumors. They feel vindicated. They want to do something about it. Okay. They live in the same capitalist hellscape that we do, or a very similar one. And they're frustrated by their material conditions. And so, they form a mob, and most of them probably don't engage in any sort of direct violence. But they are a cover for the people doing the violence, right? When there's hundreds or thousands of people in the street, it is difficult to locate and arrest the terror cells, okay? Because the police are inept, and they are stupid. They are low IQ, okay? That's it.
This is the body reacting
to
someone getting sick. It's the natural response. It's the normal response. So for years, the people of Europe have been told to just absorb this, just take this violence, just take it quietly. It's okay. They're not all bad. Put it into context, contextualize it. Also, check your prejudice rather than look plainly at the catastrophic consequences of open border immigration policy. Again, 2024, Southport stabbings. This just shows, again, what kind of nightmare that we're living through. A 17-year-old Rwandan stabbed 3 little girls to death. That is 3 children. And the instinct of the ruling class was not to ask serious questions about how this happened, or why are we letting all these people in? What is the structural failure that allowed this? No. Their instinct instead was to suppress the attacker's identity for as long as possible so people didn't know who he was, and then prosecute the people who were angry about it. Well, when is enough finally enough?
Prosecute?
This is what happens when a government abandons its foundational purpose. What is the purpose of a government? Well, the entire premise of political authority, going back to the basic framework of Western political thought, is that the state exists to protect its citizens, to serve the people. It's that simple. That is the government's job. The job is to serve the people. That is the deal. You surrender a degree of your natural freedom in exchange for security, stability, and the guarantee that the law works for you. When the government instead chooses to prioritize the comfort and legal protection of foreigners who come over here and harm people over the safety of its own people, it has not just failed in its duty to act as a government. No, it has actually taken the social contract. Imagine it in front of you holding a piece of paper, and they have torn it up completely, and they have declared itself the enemy of the people it was built to serve by doing that. And at that point, it is no longer a government. It is more...
Man, what I like to tell people that say shit like this is like, the government has abandoned you. Like, yeah, okay, but not just for brown people, right? Like, these guys are peddling this idea that brown people can kill you and you can't kill them and blah, 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 and they're killing you left and right. I got killed on my way to work today by a brown person that was mad about me being white, and it's insane, man. You are living in upside down world. You are living in a different reality. Okay, it's just not what's happening. What the fuck else is there to say? People get stabbed. It happens every day. It happens all over our country. It happens all over the world. People be getting stabbed, okay? And guess what? The worse the material conditions are in a country, the more it happens. You're not more likely to get stabbed because there are brown people in your vicinity, or shot, or battered, or anything. You are more likely to get stabbed or shot when these weapons are accessible and when material conditions are low. You don't see shit like this happening in China.
Administrative apparatus.
Two guys get in a fight on the street in China, and it makes national news for 2 weeks.
Wearing the costume of a government. That is how bad this is. Absolutely. And if you don't believe me, look at the UK. I've done a video on the UK police and the government there. The 2-tier policing in the UK is absolutely insane. It is genuinely grotesque. That is the way to put it. It is disgusting. The British citizens are having their doors kicked in and dragged out of their homes and prosecuted of a crime for things that they posted on social media, while the very gangs and individuals who are actually terrorizing the community walk away or get very light sentencing. Get their identity hidden. Get protected.
Okay, well that sucks. Okay, yeah, they have an authoritarian government that won't let you speak out against Israel. We know. Okay, that sucks. What does that have to do with brown people?
Free handouts.
That has nothing to do with brown people, man.
Of the legal system against the native population solely. You may ask, why do they do this? It is solely to suppress dissent and protect the project of demographic replacement. That is all it is. And make no mistake, again, that is exactly what it is. Don't let people gaslight you and say that it is not. This is a project, and it is deliberate, and it is coordinated, and it is a top-down campaign. It is ran by a globalist ideology that views the historic.
No, it's ran by capitalists that want to have the cheapest workers do the most amount of work. That's what it is, man.
In Europe, European countries, as well as America, as an obstacle.
Immigrants do more work for less money.
Borderless, rootless, atomized,
that's
manageable, deracinated, manageable, global world order. And once you realize that, then you can start approaching these situations from the correct state of mind. But what makes it even worse is everybody, these own citizens, they are the ones paying for it with their own tax dollars. The average young man in Britain, Ireland, or really anywhere in Europe, hell, even America, today cannot afford to buy a home. He is saving for close to a decade just to accumulate a down payment, and by the time he gets there, let's say 10 years from now, investment firms like BlackRock have already purchased the entire neighborhood that guy was saving for, and they have converted it into a permanent rental market where he is a tenant in his own country for the rest of his life. He will never own anything, he will rent forever. Then, his wages are then suppressed by the mass importation of cheap labor. His schools, his hospitals, and social services are stretched to the point of collapse by an endless influx of random foreigners who consume from the system without actually contributing to it. He is working harder than his father and his grandfather did, and he's getting less for it, and he is being told simultaneously that he is the problem and that he needs to be more, air quotes, welcoming. The audacity of all of this is genuinely and awfully staggering. This is not accidental. This is not something, it just happened like that, boy. Stop asking questions. No, this is the deliberate strategy. And how is it the strategy? Let me explain to you. This is the concept that is called institutional overload. What that means is they are flooding the system with more demand than it can possibly have supply, until the infrastructure of civil society starts to feel the pain. They buckle under the weight. For example, when the hospitals are overwhelmed, or when the police are overstretched, we don't have enough cops, or when the housing market is collapsed, nobody can buy a house, nobody can afford it. The average age for buying a house is like 50-something years old, and when the schools have been reduced to just chaos, there's always somebody fighting or stabbing someone or doing drugs at them, the population then becomes desperate and demoralized and far more compliant. A broken, atomized, rootless, deracinated population is much easier to manage than a bunch of confident people who are rooted and they're prosperous. It's much harder to control those people. We've seen the idea of this having to be done to Western countries out of the post-World War II consensus. We never want to see a country like Germany from World War II ever again. The globalists understand this. They are not incompetent. They are malicious. They know exactly what they're doing. And here is what truly exposes this as...
Not gonna lie, man, I feel like there's gonna be a huge race war. It's just gonna be gore. Yeah, man, I don't think so. I understand that you feel scared and, or maybe not, maybe more like paranoid. But I disagree with you. And we can talk about, like, why this is happening but, like, let's start with this. Why do you feel that way? Why do you feel like there's going to be a race war? Because I think I know why, but I don't want to assume, you know. Nah, not scared, just concerned. I mean, a white boy killed Kirk. Erica says she forgives him. A black guy kills a white boy. We're all inwards. Yeah. So you're talking about, fucking, whatever the fuck his name is. We were talking about him yesterday. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, the guy I got is sentencing, and people are going kind of crazy over it, but, yeah, I don't know, like, basically what you're saying is white people be racist, and it's like, yeah, there are certainly a lot of racist-ass white people, but is there gonna be a race war, though? Like, race war starts for specific reasons, right? And that's because, you have a massive amount of vindicated white people that are like, we need to, like, defend ourselves against black people. And then the black people defend themselves against that attack, okay, that defense. Well, it's just that we turn to overlook death unless it's a white person. Then all these blue check marks exploit it. Yeah, man, I mean, it's not even just that we, like, overlook black people being killed. We overlook white people doing the killing, okay? Black people always get the book when they kill, when they commit any crime, for that matter, and white people don't. I need glasses, I type like ass sometimes. That's okay. It's okay, man, I still understand you. It is pretty crazy, man. We live in a society.
Just more salt in the wound. The working
I'm just gonna keep talking about it.
In the West. We are funding our own.
I'm not gonna lie, I get a bit of a kick out of white people being pissed off, though. Yeah, I mean, that's alright. It's just, it's important to recognize that, that, like, a race war isn't gonna happen, though. Like, you know, I'm not gonna sit here and be like, feel bad because white people are concerned about the situation that is happening. You know, it is kind of funny when white people get all scared, because, like, who the fuck are white people to be scared of this shit? Are you fucking kidding me? It doesn't matter now. It doesn't matter how civil, intellectual we are. They hate us. Yeah, I mean, I get what you mean, man. I think it's, I think that hatred is, it's the system that hates you, okay? White people generally do not hate you, okay? And that doesn't mean they aren't bigoted. And my bad, I'm actually right
with
now.
our tax dollars. Every
I'm
tax dollar,
actually.
and if you're in England, every pound, if you're in Europe,
It's
every
true, though.
euro that is extracted from the native population is being taken into and spent in the very infrastructure that is being used to replace them. Example, social housing. That has been prioritized for all the new immigrants rather than citizens who have actually paid into the system their whole entire lives, the people who are from here. Legal aid for lawyers, state resources for whatever it may be, is extended way more to people who enter the country illegally, but also, air quotes, legally, which is probably the bigger, definitely
No,
is the bigger problem.
what is your
Well,
evidence
here
of
in
this?
America, veterans sleep on the streets, and unfortunately, unalive themselves all the time.
I made it up. I made it up.
Something like that. But no, that doesn't really matter to these globalist governments that work in tandem with the companies who get rich as fuck off of this. This is simply just a wealth transfer. It is taking the normal, native, historic people of a country, whether that's America or England or Ireland, whatever, wherever you live, Spain, France, Germany, it is taking their money and it is transferring it to all these other people. So effectively, they are being financed. They are financing the very people that are replacing them. You know, you are paying for the, think of it, the bulldozer that is destroying a building, but it's your home.
It's so crazy to me when white people be like, I'm so mad. I'm so frustrated by this white person that was killed by a black person, even though the person that did the killing, the murderer, was arrested and / tried and convicted. Like all of these cases that these guys keep fucking yapping about. The person has been arrested and is being tried, and yeah, but that doesn't bring back the person, the victim. No shit. No shit. It's just like people die every day. People fucking die. People are killed every day. You can be mad about somebody being killed and then the person gets away with it, right? And then they evade the authorities, or like they get released or something for some reason. Okay, that's understandable, right? It doesn't make fucking sense to me. Well, unless you're like the victim's family, right? It doesn't make sense to me how you can be so mad, so irate over a person that did a killing and is being punished for it. It's crazy to me.
So when you talk about things like this, I already know these bad faith, usually Redditors, these leftist types, these libtards, they're already typing, well, not every immigrant is bad. That's what people say. Not every single one is bad. You know, let me be clear about something. Nobody serious is arguing that every single person born in a foreign country is a violent criminal. That is a deliberate misrepresentation. It is a bad faith argument. It's a false equivalency that is used to shut down the conversation before it starts. And it's getting very old. They are so stupid with their arguments. They cannot actually debate anything. You know, this issue has
then what are you saying? Come on, get to the point.
There's probably some good immigrants. Yeah, we already know that. Nobody serious, again, is saying every single person ever is bad. The issue is the collective.
The collective. Okay, so you're advocating for collective punishment against a group of people that you just admitted is not entirely comprised of bad people that do murder and crime. So...
The issue is the systemic and undeniable reality that the mass importation of people from different countries with radically different values, different religions...
Okay. Sure. So, systemically deporting people, that is wrong. That is collective punishment. That is genocide at its end. Okay, inevitably, it is going to genocide. That's what it is. If you advocate for deportation, that's what you're advocating for. But if you advocate for a more restrictive immigration policy, that is not collective punishment. That's not collective punishment. That is just stupid. That's it. Okay, it's just dumb policy. It's not good for our country. It's not good for our economy. It's not good for our nation. Okay, that's it. But if you want to argue on those merits, that's completely different. Okay, if you want to argue immigration policy, fine.
Different attitudes towards women, for example, towards the law.
But anyway, it still comes from a racist place, right? When you're advocating for more restrictive immigration, you're saying that brown people are scary, right? You're saying that, like, collectively they're bad. They're bad for the country. It's factually incorrect. It's emotional. It's just your feelings about brown people.
Has been a failure everywhere it has been tried at scale in history, not just right now. The evidence of that right now is what's going on in Europe and just the West in general. Why is nothing being done about the thousands of young white European women who've been gang raped by predominantly Pakistani men over the course of years in Europe, and the police do nothing because they were afraid of being called racist? Are you kidding me? Do your fucking job. How about that?
The grooming gangs. Dude, the Tories are the grooming gangs.
At what point does not all of them, argument become moral abdication. We need to start being harder on crime, a lot harder. Stuff I'm not going to say on YouTube. Western civilization is not one option among many equivalent options, by the way. There is no other West. We are the best. It is the pinnacle of human achievement. It is the most charitable, the most self-critical, the most legally sophisticated, and the most productive civilization that's ever existed on this earth. We are so nice. We have so much generosity that the extraordinary capacity for self-examination and hospitality has been warped against us. It's been weaponized against us. Our openness was treated as a weakness. Our charity was treated as an invitation to come steal all of our shit and extract from us. People's guilt, white people's guilt, have been manufactured and then leveraged to convince us that wanting to protect our own borders, which is normal, insane, and the rational position, and protecting our own people, which is again the normal, insane, and rational position, and our own future, is actually a moral failing. You are being very bad for that right now. Fuck off. Fuck off with that. I don't give a shit what you say or think anymore. That is the most audacious lie. Millions of people, thankfully, are finally beginning to see what it is. So let me remind you, and I'm sure all of you already know, the people rioting in Ireland right now are not actually the problem. They are the symptom, actually, of a society that has been pushed past its breaking point by a ruling class that despises them. They just despise them. They don't actually like them. They genuinely do not like them. They are the predictable and entirely rational consequence of years of suppressed anger. We don't want our women to be attacked on the streets. We don't want random people to get stabbed in the neck, stabbed in the chest, and then the police cover it up. We don't want to get arrested for saying there's too many immigrants in this country. We don't want to be, again, in trouble with the cops and the legal system for saying, hey, there are these signs around my house. They're not in English anymore. They're now in a foreign language. They're now in 3 different foreign languages. It's real violence. And the dawning recognition that the institutions which were supposed to protect them are actively working against them is starting to hit people right in their prefrontal cortex. And the thing is, why do these people in Europe get arrested online for posting these things or rioting because their own people are being replaced? Well, the reason why.
This is what they end up complaining about when they have nothing to complain about that's legitimate. They're just like, oh yeah, I don't like seeing signs in another language. I don't like that. Like, okay. Alright, then avert your gaze. Don't look at them, I guess. I don't know.
Anger. Not necessarily because they're...
Why do you care?
If the cops wanted to take down everybody, they would. But because it's... People recognize the legitimacy of what they're protesting against, which is legitimate and valid. The entire moral architecture that they've been trying to set up and blame you and guilt trip you with of the globalist project begins to crumble right on its face. Thankfully, this is why people are angry, and rightfully so. Again, this is why they arrest people for tweets. This is why they suppress the identities of these gang rapists and attackers. This is why they smear anyone who questions this obviously disastrous policy as a Nazi or a white supremacist. It's not actually real, because the argument they are trying to shut down is one that they can't actually defeat if they were to have an open and honest debate, because the truth is the most dangerous thing in their world. Their world is just full of lies, and they know it. The fact that they are panicking and doubling down on censorship and deploying the legal system against their own native citizens, it's not a sign of strength. It doesn't mean that they're doing something right. It is actually a sign of them being desperate. It is the behavior of people who understand that, hey, the narrative that we're trying to push past these people, all these lies, that narrative is slipping, and really there's nothing we can do about it. So they can't really force it back at people. So my answer to this is to reject this entirely. I reject all of this entirely. I reject the globalist framework. I reject their synthetic, meaning fake, pseudo, not real, fake and gay morality. I reject this manufactured guilt. I didn't do anything wrong. My ancestors did nothing wrong when they came to America. They worked in the factories and built the railroads. Literally, that's what they did. They're just normal working class people. And I also reject this satanic project of erasing people, distinct peoples, and nations from the face of the earth. God made us all different for a reason. He didn't make us so. He didn't make white people and say, okay, everybody else, go attack them and replace them. That is not what he made us for. I reject the lie that my people's survival.
Your ancestors weren't white, man. They weren't. You're German.
It's negotiable. I totally reject that. It's not negotiable.
That's bullshit.
Going to survive, and
you're fake white.
Away from us. Normal people want to live in safety. The normal freaking guy who just clocks in, clocks out, wants to go home, eat food with his family.
You cannot be a part of my white ethno-nationalist movement, okay? We only allow real whites. We're keeping the movement pure.
Live in safety. They want these fathers, for example, they want to walk down the streets of the town they grew up
in. Fucking Germans.
I have to walk with my daughter. We have to drive fast. She can't
crazy.
Walk. They want their daughters to be safe. They want their sons to have a future. So don't look at those people. They might stab you. I can't walk in the park with my kid anymore. There's open air drug dealers now from foreign countries. They're probably selling me laced bullshit. It's like, what's going on here? I want my grandkids to have something worth inheriting, because right now this is fucked up. That is actually not hatred, by the way. Everything I just said, that's not hatred. That is love. That is extreme love. That is the most natural and most human and most sacred impulse that exists. Greater love hath no man than to lay down his life for his brother. I made a mistake. It's actually friends, but the premise still remains here. We are going to make our kids' lives better. I'm not saying I'm going to go out and die and do some crazy shit. What I mean by that when I mention that quote is that we need to make sacrifices so that our children can actually have a future, a posterity. Again, that is love. That is the most natural and most human, most sacred thing that exists. And no government, and no globalist institution, and no amount of social pressure will ever make it or me wrong. So, that's all I have to say about that. Someone asked me on Twitter, will you make a video on the Ireland riots? I said, sure, let me look into it. So thank you for that suggestion, by the way. His name was @RenzoLols. I'll give a special shout out to that guy because I actually didn't know what to make a video on. And also a special shout out to a big, very awesome group of people that are probably listening all the way to the end, my loyal Patreon subscribers. Now, what I've been thinking with the Patreon people is I want to add them and their names to the end of the video, but also maybe some of them have their real government names up there, and I don't necessarily want to just put them out there without speaking to them first.
No, come on,
that is
do
why
it.
I don't give the Patreon recognition at the end of the video like some creators do. I think Zoomer Historian used to do that. I don't want to put anybody's name out there. This is one of the reasons people ask me why don't you start a Discord, why don't you start a Telegram. It's because it's not safe for you guys. Not like I'm Big Daddy or anything. Ha, Big Daddy. But no, really, there will be weird people, bad actors who would join this group and try to persuade people to do bad things. That's why I don't have any groups or anything like that. No Discord, no Telegram. I've been asked this question a bunch of times. There is not one. If there is one, I didn't make it. If I made one, I would tell you all. But anyways, I'm kind of sidetracking right now. That is my final thoughts on everything that's going on. If you like what I make, you like what I talk about, go ahead and subscribe to me on Rumble in case YouTube gets a little
he got banned
on here because YouTube is like that.
I wonder
YouTube,
why.
They don't like certain things. You know, they prefer not the truth, but instead money, just like these other globalist organizations. And they will ban certain things. Although it does seem as if they are kind of letting off a little bit. You have people like Joel Webben saying things much more directly and clearly than I do. Other people saying stuff the same thing that I do, but I do try to play it safe to an extent. So I think you all would understand why I self-censor myself sometimes. Because if I were to get banned off of YouTube, that would be terrible. I've worked hard for this channel so far. I'm almost at 100K subs. Let's go, man. Let's freaking go. But after that, if you want to follow me on Twitter, absolutely you can. I would invite you to do so. I'd be joyous if you did. The reason for that is because the comments, we have a bunch of very kind, normal people in the comment section.
So kind, so normal.
Someone else even pointed this out. You know?
Let's hear some of these kind and normal comments. Let's see here. Gas, styrofoam, sulfuric acid, as well as a rag attached outside. I'm not even going to read the rest of that. Screw top mason jar. Put that together for a self-igniting molly when it breaks on impact. You know, for educational purposes. It won't spill fire all over yourself because safety first. Just normal people in the comments, yeah. Always remember, patriots, the motto of the whole world. You rich American, you give money. The barbarians have been trying to invade the West for centuries. They used to try conquest. Now they use immigration and politics. What the fuck? Conquest? What? Glad the victim survived, and I hope he sees the duty and responsibility to become a hero for the movement and stand with his fellow countrymen. Europe for Europeans, America for Americans. Time for everyone to go the fuck home. Yeah, just normal stuff.
We had like a disagreement or something like that. It wasn't even anything major. And someone said, common JimmyTalks community W. He's humble. The guy said, okay, actually, yeah, you're wrong, Jimmy. Or I'm wrong, you're right, Jimmy. And I was like, hey, no harm, no foul. We just have normal people who have disagreements. We talk like normal people. It's fantastic. Come and join us, please. I invite you to do so. And then lastly, but not finally, Patreon, $5 a month. Actually, not the last thing. It's just to support the channel. I don't take corporate ads. Never will. If I were to do an ad, it would be for a family business, somebody that has our values. That's really all I do it for. I can never sell out. I don't even need that much. You know, I don't even, here's $10 trillion to sell out. It's like, at what point is money going to make you happy? You know, how much do you need? I don't get that, but anyways. Lastly, but not least, something that matters very much to me. IOCC, International Orthodox Christian Charities. This is a charity that ran, exactly just like the name says, by Orthodox Christians. They go around and help people in war zones. They're big in Ukraine right now. They were helping out the Orthodox Christians, and everybody really, in Palestine, when, you know, that whole entire area is being flattened by bombs right now. Very sad. They're going and helping out everybody, doing the best they can, rebuilding chapels, getting icons out to people, making sure they can pray. All that fantastic, wonderful stuff. So I'll put the links to all of them in the description. Save your Patreon money.
You
Go and give
suck
them
at
$5,
Fortnite,
$10,
bro.
something like that.
Yeah,
Instead.
die.
That would make
Die.
me happier, actually.
Now your friend dies too.
So, anyways, guys, that's all for me today. God bless you and your families. I mean that when I say that. America first and America only. Jimmy Talks out.
Wow, he cut the video off before I could see him die. What a pussy. Loser.